Hey guys, this is Ben, founder of No Accent Callers. In today's video, we're going to be going over inbound versus outbound marketing for wholesaling real estate. So I get this question all the time. Ben, what is the best marketing channel? Look, at the end of the day, they all work. They each have their own pros and their cons, and a lot of people think that they need to choose between inbound or outbound. I always recommend both, but in this video, we're going to be going over the pros and the cons. So if we pull up the unlimited lead funnel here, we have our whole entire graph on what it takes to wholesale. Remember, it is a marketing and a sales game, and you have the different type of marketing channels. You have traditional marketing like billboards, TV ads, radio. Then you have your paid traffic, which is your inbound, PPC, PPL, and then you have your cold outreach, which is cold call and SMS. I'm actually going to move direct mail over more traditional because it's a little bit more old school and it falls in between cold outbound and inbound. But these ones are mainly going to be going over there between PPC, PPL versus cold call and cold SMS. So let's start with inbound marketing. So inbound marketing, by default, you're always going to have a more warm lead. Why? Compared to an outbound lead, these people are submitting and opting in versus us prospecting them. And then for our inbound marketing, we obviously have our Google PPC, we have our Facebook and our YouTube ads. And the best part about our PPC leads is you're going to have a higher intent and a better conversion rate because the leads are actively searching for a solution, resulting in a way better lead to contract ratio, anywhere between 1 to 10, 1 to 15. On the regulatory side, you don't really have to worry about anything because they are opting in. And the speed to revenue, essentially your cash conversion cycle, is going to be way, way faster because with cold calling, with cold SMS, you know that it is a follow-up game, and the leads come when you call, because they're not actively searching. They want to sell. But one of my favorite parts is the authority building. But this is essentially the pre-framing, and I like to say the propaganda of your marketing funnel, because a big mistake that a lot of people make with their advertising is that they just run an ad and they get, let's just say, name, phone number, email, and some more information when they want to sell, why, condition. And then that's what they do, nothing else. So when you call them up, they're probably not going to even remember who you are. But with the pre-framing side, you could do a couple things. First and foremost, I'm a big fan of email marketing, and I take this from more of the internet money side of the hammer them campaign. So as soon as somebody submits an opt-in, as soon as somebody books a call, they get sent a series of emails, roughly 6 a day. Well, what are these 6 emails about? The most common questions, objections, concerns, case studies, testimonials that they have, because sales and marketing is like a football field. If someone opts in, they're on the 20-yard line, and to get them all the way to the end zone, that's going to be pretty tough. But if they opt in, they get sent a bunch of emails that answers all the questions that they're already going to have. They're going to be farther on the football field. And then you could also run some content strategies where you could start retargeting that audience of people who submitted with all of those questions, objections, case studies, testimonials, but in terms of actual content on ads. And then also, most importantly, it's very, very scalable. And by scalable, it means you don't need to go build a 400-person calling team. You don't need to build a 35-person acquisition team to handle your cold SMS leads. It's super easy to scale because you just click the buttons. But some of the cons are going to be the cost. It is a way higher cost per lead that you have right there. Typically with cold calling, you'll see anywhere between $40 to $50 per lead, but with PPC, PPL, it could be anywhere between $150 to $400. And depending on how much you have in the bank, your operations, your liquidity, there is a good chance that you might burn a lot of cash before you could see an ROI. Because if you're spending $1,000 a month on PPC expecting to make $100,000 in return, I'll tell you straight up, don't waste your time. I would recommend spending anywhere between 30 to 50 grand per month in ads, because you are going to be making so much more money, but you might burn through all of your cash. And then depending on your skills as an advertiser, it is technically complex. Anybody can set up a Facebook ads campaign. Not everybody can run a good one. You need to know marketing, you need to know funnels, you need to know how to condition the pixel, you need to know targeting, messaging, all of that stuff right there. And then also you have some targeting restrictions. And by targeting restrictions, I mean your market. So what do you mean by market? Well, let's say you wanted to go run ads in Austin, Texas. You'll get $600, $700 cost per lead, but you'll see a lot of these marketing agencies tell you to go nationwide. Why? Because you're going to get a lower cost per lead. Next, we have outbound marketing. And the number one pro when it comes to outbound marketing is going to be the volume and the cost per lead. So, for the two specific outbound marketing channels, you're going to have cold calling and cold SMS. And you can absolutely blast off a shit ton of volume. Because you're able to go through so much volume, you're going to be getting more yeses regardless, which is why you're going to get a lower cost per lead, anywhere between $20 to $30. And if you're doing land and you're only calling a lead as someone who says yes or a positive reply, as low as $6 to $7. And then also anybody who says yes, if you are advanced on the Facebook level side, can be using that for a custom audience. But like we said, the most important thing is the volume and then your ability to build the pipeline, because it is a long sales cycle, but you're able to get a lot of leads for a very low cost per lead. You can keep your acquisition guys really, really busy. But some of the cons are going to be the, compliance side. Cold calling, you're 100% chilling. Cold SMS, not so much, and you can get fined a lot. And then also the conversion rates are going to be way lower depending on how you qualify your lead. And I typically see people do this by just getting yeses. So when they cold call, yes, they want to sell, or an SMS, yes, they want to sell. You can close anywhere between 150 to 120. And if you don't have the acquisitions, if you don't have the follow-up, you are just going to think you're flooding yourself with a lot of low-cost leads. And then also, you have the carriers. They get in the fucking way of a lot of things. So if you're doing a lot of dials, the carriers are going to flag your number as spam. And then if you're doing texting, getting your number A2P verified, you can get your number banned, the 10 DLC. It's just a lot of risk for not the best leads, and it takes a lot of work. But at the end of the day, you're going to be getting the most amount of leads, the lowest cost per lead. So when you sum up everything, if it was apples to apples and it was each $25 per lead, you go PPC every single day, but it's not the case. You have to do a balance of both. You need to be getting a lot of leads in the top of the funnel with cold calling, cold SMS, and then you need to be working the middle of the funnel with your PPC. And you do both of those right there. There's no reason why you can't be doing 7 to 10 deals per month. Hey, you have 10 cold callers, which could probably run you 20 grand a month, and then you spend another 20 grand a month into, PPC. There's no reason why you should be doing $250, $300K in assignment fees just off that. Remember, this is a marketing and a sales game. So if you're looking for cold callers, 100% done for you, where you don't have to do any of the caller, the data, the dialer, the training, the management, make sure you go to noaccentcallers.com. We take care of everything for you and book a call.